Teenage snowboarder Choi Ga-on won Team Korea's first gold medal of this year's Winter Olympics in the women's halfpipe event, beating Chloe Kim of the United States. Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi could visit South Korea in March for talks with President Lee Jae-myung, according to Japanese media. The two leaders last met in Takaichi's hometown in Japan's Nara prefecture last month. South Korea's import prices rose for a seventh consecutive month in January. Rising raw material costs drove up import prices by 0.4%, despite low oil prices and exchange rates. Hello and welcome to our noon edition of Arirang News. We begin today with South Korea winning its first gold medal at the Winter Games in Milano-Cortina, sealed by snowboarder Choi Ga-on's win in the halfpipe. Choi is now the youngest gold medalist in the event, despite falling in her first two runs. Our Kim Do-yeon starts us off.
From the brink of being taken off the course on a stretcher to the top of the podium, 17-year-old Choi Ga-on took gold in the snowboard halfpipe at the Milano-Cortina Winter Games on Thursday, despite falling on her first two runs. Her first fall was especially concerning, with officials even preparing a stretcher fearing a serious injury. She managed to get up, but fell again in her second run, leaving her sitting in last place with one chance left. In her third and final run, Choi landed her signature switch backside 900 perfectly. Judges awarded her a massive 90.25, vaulting her past defending champion from the U.S., Chloe Kim, who was leading with a score of 88. When Kim fell on her own final run, Choi's victory was sealed. Ironically, Choi had named Kim as her idol in an interview with Korean broadcaster JTBC prior to the competition, saying Kim never gives up and stays focused to win on her third run, even if she falls on her first two. Both competitors' relationship also goes a long way back, as Kim's father helped Choi train and compete in the U.S. from a young age. Choi has now broken Chloe Kim's record to become the youngest ever winner in this event while securing the nation's first ever gold in snowboarding. South Korea has stayed strong in the snowboarding section during this event as a whole, picking up a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi could visit South Korea in March for talks with President Lee Jae-myung. Citing unnamed government sources, Japan's Jiji Press reported on Thursday that the visit is being considered as part of the two leaders' back-and-forth diplomacy, with President Lee's hometown of Andong City, Gyeongsang-buk-do Province, mentioned as a possible venue. A Blue House official told Arirang News that while both sides agree on continuing such visits, no specific dates have been finalized. Lee and Takaichi last met in Japan's Nara prefecture last month. Meanwhile, North Korea's Kim Yo-jong has called South Korea's regret over reported drone incursion sensible, but warned of a harsh response if similar incidents happen again. This comes after Seoul's unification minister expressed regret over drones allegedly sent to the north by civilians and said South Korea is pursuing peaceful coexistence between the two Koreas. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
The younger sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has responded to South Korea's recent expression of regret over a drone incursion, calling the move sensible, while demanding concrete steps to prevent a repeat. In a statement carried by the North Korean Central News Agency on Friday, Kim Yo-jong said it was fortunate that South Korean Unification Minister Chung Dong-young officially expressed regret over what Pyongyang called a drone intrusion into its territory. She said she appreciated the remark as sensible behavior. Earlier this week, Chung voiced regret over drones allegedly sent to the north by civilians and said Seoul is pursuing mutual recognition and peaceful coexistence between the two Koreas. Kim Yo-jong, however, stressed that responsibility ultimately lies with the South Korean government. She said Pyongyang is less concerned about who organized the flights, whether individuals or private groups, and more focused on what it calls a serious violation of sovereignty and national airspace. She also issued a warning saying any recurrence of what the North views as provocations would trigger a harsh response. According to her statement, one of several counterattack options would be selected, and the response would go beyond proportionality. Kim's remarks on Seoul's response, however, were not published in the 노동신문, the North's main newspaper for domestic readers. 이승재, Arirang News.
Moody's Investor Service has kept South Korea's sovereign credit rating at AA2 with a stable outlook, reaffirming a level it has held since upgrading the country in 2015. The agency said Thursday that the rating is backed by Korea's strong economic diversity, competitiveness, and steady institutional management in handling key challenges. Moody's projects the Korean economy will grow 1.8% in 2026, helped by rising semiconductor exports during the global AI upcycle and stronger investment in facilities. It adds that the stable outlook reflects balanced risks, noting Korea's exposure to global trade can affect key credit metrics. The forecast is slightly cautious, but largely in line with other estimates and the government's view. South Korea's import prices rose for a seventh consecutive month in January, despite a dip in global oil prices and a weaker dollar. Data from the Bank of Korea shows that the import price index inched up 0.4% compared to December. While capital and consumer goods saw declines, the overall rise was driven by raw materials and intermediate goods. Meanwhile, export prices jumped 4% from the previous month, led by manufacturing products. The volume of exports also surged 28.3% compared to the previous year, reflecting robust global demand in the technology sector. The strength in exports has significantly improved the country's trade conditions, with the net barter terms of trade climbing 8.9% compared to the same period last year. Trade Minister Yo Han-gu was at an event organized by the American Chamber of Commerce in Korea to reaffirm Seoul's commitment to the terms of its trade deal with the Trump administration. Our correspondent Park Jun-an reports.
Trade Minister Yo Han-gu said on Thursday that Korea and the U.S. are going through pivotal moments in terms of bilateral trade. Yo's remarks were delivered at a critical time as Korea and the United States continue their high-level talks on tariff-related trade issues after the Special Act on the Management of Korea-U.S. Strategic Investments was proposed last November.
Following the proposal of the Special Act on Korea-U.S. Strategic Investment last November in our National Assembly, a dedicated special committee was established on February 9th to facilitate its passage. We are making every effort to see this legislation enacted as soon as possible. We are also working closely with our U.S. counterpart to implement the follow-up measures, including non-tariff issues outlined in the Korea-U.S. joint fact sheet.
During his remarks, Minister Yo expressed appreciation for record-high U.S. foreign direct investment in Korea last year, driven by continued partnerships with American companies. He also pledged to faithfully implement the bilateral tariff agreement and proactively share progress with the U.S. side and the business community to enhance stability and deepen economic ties. AMCHAM Chairman and CEO James Kim, the host of the event, reaffirmed AMCHAM's full support for the Korean government's efforts and its commitment to close collaboration for a stable, forward-looking trade relationship.
I discussed with President Lee Jae-myung during our roundtable 2 weeks ago. And I look forward to working with President Lee and his administration to expand the number of global companies' regional headquarters here in Korea. Korea has less than 100 today. And what I told President Lee is I'd love to see, under his tenure, the number going from 100 to 1,000.
In a closed-door session, Minister Yo and Chairman Kim reportedly held in-depth exchanges on evolving global trade dynamics, bilateral investment cooperation, and steps to improve Korea's foreign direct investment environment. Park Jun-an, Arirang News.
Culture Minister Choi Ga-on sat down with members of the media to mark his first 6 months in office and touched upon BTS and more. Our correspondent Park Gun-woo files this report.
From crisis to hope, South Korea's culture minister says he's witnessed renewed optimism in the cultural sector over the past 6 months. He noted that the industry's core strength and passion remains strong, adding that K-culture continues to expand its global reach. One of the ministry's key priorities is BTS's upcoming comeback show to be held in March at Gwanghwamun Square, one of Seoul's most symbolic landmarks, known for major rallies and public gatherings.
It's grateful and meaningful that globally renowned artist BTS have chosen Gwanghwamun as their new starting point. That's why we're doing our best while working closely with BTS so that we can showcase Korea's traditional heritage and cultural essence to the world.
The minister added that support measures are also being prepared for international visitors attending the concert, stressing that collaborative concerts with Korean artists will extend beyond BTS. Choi also reaffirmed efforts to crack down on ticket scalping at large events such as concerts, noting that related legislation will soon be introduced to penalize resales at inflated prices. The authorities are additionally discussing measures to address accommodation price gouging in concert hosting areas, with solutions expected to be unveiled soon. Through the Presidential Committee on Popular Cultural Exchange launched 4 months ago, the minister said officials are also exploring ways to accelerate the global spread of K-culture.
We're planning to host a massive global concert in Korea by the end of next year, bringing together artists from all major entertainment agencies. We might be able to potentially integrate dedicated K-culture spaces at venues for those concerts, just like Korea House at the Olympics, offering immersive cultural experiences.
Choi further stressed the need for more large-capacity concert halls in Korea, with efforts underway to build venues capable of accommodating up to 50,000 people. The minister noted that additional financial support for the cultural sector will be provided, adding that there's a broad consensus within the government, including the president, on the significance of strengthening the industry. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
With Seoul and The Hague kicking off their first ever foreign affairs and trade strategic dialogue this week, the Dutch foreign minister sat down with Arirang to provide more insights about his visit. Here's our correspondent Oh Soo-young with more.
South Korea and the Netherlands are natural partners in chip technology and are bound together as liberal democratic middle powers. That's according to Dutch Foreign Minister David van Weijl, speaking with Arirang News during his visit to Seoul.
So I think that both the Netherlands and Korea have been thriving due to the international rules-based order that's been built in the 80 years since the Second World War. We are both entrepreneurial countries, we have open economies, we are outward-oriented, we depend on other countries for our well-being and our economies, so that really binds us together.
The first 2+2 meeting of foreign and trade ministers took place in Seoul on Wednesday, with the two countries' semiconductor alliance as the main agenda. While Korea's Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix produce more than half the world's memory chips, Dutch firm ASML's lithography technology is an integral part of producing the most advanced semiconductors.
I think we're very complementary, but we also want to make sure that we safeguard this technology, use it in a responsible way, and also make sure that our potential adversaries don't make misuse of this.
This comes amid supply chain disruptions, economic coercion by larger powers, and technological rivalry.
I think it's very important for middle powers like Korea and the Netherlands are to hold hands and to make sure that we keep advocating this international rules-based order that has brought us so much. And yes, that sometimes means that you also need to reduce dependencies, whether it's in the field of security or in the field of economy, to get a more even balanced approach within our alliances.
Cooperation is also broadening beyond economics to include defence and regional security in the Indo-Pacific.
Last year, our navies conducted a joint exercise, and as a former naval officer and also having spent time in NATO working on hybrid threats and cybersecurity, how do you intend to deepen the security partnership between South Korea and the Netherlands?
So I think there's a lot of opportunities in defense industry, in defense innovation, because both of our countries are very highly involved in new technologies, and we will see those technologies also seeping into the military, whether it's AI, the use of drones, which we're already seeing in Ukraine, or cyber. This will be a large part, and also we believe it important to be present in this region, if only for the freedom of navigation that we hold so high. So we will send a frigate again this year in 2026 to the region to participate in exercises with various countries here.
Also during his visit, Van Bael met with Unification Minister Chung Dong-young in light of Seoul's new policy of peaceful coexistence with North Korea. The Dutch Foreign Minister noted with caution Pyongyang's ongoing cooperation with Russia.
It has been supplying soldiers, it has been supplying equipment, and that cooperation only seems to deepen. At the moment, that makes it very, very hard to see anything positive happening vis-à-vis the North Korean regime. And I think that at the moment we would advocate for sanctions and pressure to stop this alignment and to make sure that North Korea doesn't gain any sensitive technologies from Russia in return for their help on this senseless war of aggression in Ukraine.
As Seoul and The Hague advanced their strategic partnership, the minister emphasized underlying common values.
I believe that we have a great basis to build on. I probably insulted your nation by saying you are like the Dutch people in Asia, but I mean that in a very positive way, that you are forthcoming, you are entrepreneurial, you are outgoing, and when you make a deal, it is a deal. And that for us are golden values that we find reflected in Korean society as well.
Minister David Van Bael, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome. I am your AI sports correspondent, Arirang. This section features AI-generated content and scripts, bringing you the latest news from the Olympic Winter Games Milano-Cortina 2026. Here are our top stories. South Korean skater Im Jong-un has won the bronze medal in the men's 1,000-meter short track. The 18-year-old clocked a time of 1 minute and 24.611 seconds after making a late push from 5th place to the lead group during the final lap. Following a photo finish, officials awarded the gold medal to Jens van Avoudt of the Netherlands and silver to China's Sun Rong. This podium finish at the Milano Ice Skating Arena on Thursday is the first medal for the South Korean short track team and the nation's fourth overall at the 2026 Games. The South Korean women's curling team defeated host nation Italy 7-2 in their second round-robin match on Friday in Cortina d'Ampezzo. Led by skip Kim In-ji, the Korean squad secured a decisive 4-point lead in the sixth end, which prompted Italy to concede the match. The victory gives South Korea a 1-1 record in the preliminary stage following an opening loss to the United States. The team will face Great Britain on Friday. South Korean skeleton athlete Jung Seung-gi finished in a tie for 8th place after the first 2 runs on Thursday at the Cortina Sliding Center. Jung recorded a combined time of 1 minute, 53.22 seconds, trailing leader Matt Weston of Great Britain by 1.13 seconds. The result places Jung in a 3-way tie for 8th place, with Chinese sliders Yin Zheng and Lin Qinhui heading into the final day of competition on Friday. Freestyle skier Jung Dae-yoon finished 19th in the men's moguls on Thursday. Jung reached the first final at Living Yo Aerial's Moguls Park after placing 4th in the second qualification round, but a balance error during his final descent resulted in a score of 34.28. The mistake prevented the 2025 FIS World Championships bronze medalist from making the top 8 and advancing to the final round to compete for a medal. Before we head out, let's look ahead. Appearing now on your screen are the current medal standings and the upcoming schedule for the Olympic Winter Games Milano-Cortina 2026.
We can dress a little lighter today as temperatures continue to rise. However, fine dust is once again affecting air quality. Dust concentrations will remain high across much of Korea today as overseas pollutants continue to flow in. In fact, emergency dust reduction measures are in place for the capital area and western Gangwon-do province. And on the East Coast, dry weather alerts have been in place for nearly 50 days. So extra caution is required to prevent wildfire. And this afternoon will feel more like mid-March. Seoul will jump to 12 degrees Celsius, Daegu topping out at 17 degrees. Southern provinces will have sunnier skies this afternoon. For the Lunar New Year holiday, there will be no severe cold. Conditions will remain generally mild and mostly clear with no major weather disruptions.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.